Spotify buys the website Who Sampled, and it's horrible for many reasons. Now, the online database that documents rap crime, Who Sampled,
Just open Mike Eagle. That's
for sure. That's from him, right? Has been bought by the company that exploits and intentionally doesn't pay artists, Spotify. Now, this purchase showcases how capitalism and big tech will exploit artists to benefit the consumer while profiting off of the same artists they exploit and often don't even pay. So here's a video of Open Mike Eagle explaining his issue, and then we'll jump into a couple questions.
This also pisses me off too, because what this is saying is they're going to make it where you can click on the sample and see other songs that sampled it. They won't even do that for like independent record labels. They won't make it where like if you click on my label Auto Reverse and it would show you all of the albums that Auto Reverse put out. Wouldn't that be helpful for me? And that's something that even the giant record labels have been asking Spotify to do for years. And it's refused to do a thing that might be helpful, but it's since it's bought its new database of music crime, it's going to make that clickable and easy to navigate. So let's say you're a very litigious copyright lawyer and you'd like to you're awake and you've opened your newspaper and you're sipping your morning coffee and you're wondering, who could I sue today? It'll be really easy to just go on Spotify and click Clyde Stubblefield's or James Brown's Funky Drummer and just sue a bunch of people, many of which are probably inches away from the poorhouse as it is.
Yeah.
Yo, that's crazy,
Much
man.
ado about nothing, if you ask me. And the only reason I say that is because it only matters. You only going to get sued if you really successful.
My brother,
Historically.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Historically, that's the case.
There it is.
But,
I know where he's going.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't see anybody getting sued that is making pennies on the dollar for their 1,000 songs. Their song got 1,000 plays on Spotify.
Somebody will come for that half penny.
Here's my thing, right?
But the thing is it's more than that, though.
So let me get this straight. A website that already doesn't give a shit about artists is going to take it to the 10th power and start listing samples for certain records just based off what Open Mic was talking about.
This is an easy fix. Everybody take all of your shit off Spotify.
Hey.
Spotify is not the only streaming platform. There's no reason that you should want to put anything on Spotify at this point in time.
No.
Like this is literally telling you.
Stay away from them.
Even if you already had some samples cleared. Let's say you did some shit like we talked about Mobb Deep earlier. Shook One's Part 2, if you didn't know what that sample was, there's no way you would figure it out. So imagine if that came out today. This was back then when they were telling you that we got this sample and this is where I sampled it from, things of that nature. You have other people working against you that are supposed to be music fans, telling who you sampled this from, uploading it to a streaming service that gives you fractions of a penny on the dollar.
If it pays you.
And you still want to use this service. So knowing this information, honestly, 100%, if you decide you want to use Spotify, you're in the wrong because you don't care about your own career.
I just think it's
I 100% agree with that.
I think, first of all, he's right to your point, Terry, about just pulling it off. I'm with you 100%. But I guess another part of it to me is you are making one of the foundations of hip hop. It's almost like you're trying to make it disappear because sampling has always been a part of it. Now, if you choose to do that,
it's the foundation.
We can get into this conversation about if you want to or if you don't, like Lone said, that's cool. But it's almost like I take it as you're promoting it to be like, y'all stop sampling because XYZ might happen. And it's a part of everything. It's a part of the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So the sample snitching, this open is beyond dangerous,
like,
bro.
not only am I not going to pay you what I should pay you, but I'm going to help other people get paid off of the stuff that you're uploading into my service to pay me and give you fractions of a penny on the dollar.
That's crazy work.
I'm cool, man.
That's crazy work.
There's no way that anybody should be using Spotify anymore.
I don't think people should be using Spotify as a consumer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that you really care about music if you use Spotify.
Yeah.
And
That's a big statement.
And quite honestly, you know, if you set all this up and it basically Spotify is basically a sample snitching apparatus app, if you will, apparatus, whatever. The people who wind up being sued or the beneficiaries of, you're not going to see any money either.
Mm-mm.
You know, I think this is just something to make a bunch of lawyers and bean counters rich.
Yep.
I don't think it is going to benefit even the artists who have been sampled and say they do, you know, and because I want to, you know, if you're sampled, you deserve your due as well.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
I
you do.
don't think this is the way to do it.
No, that's the piece.
You know, because yeah, you were there when Jake One came here.
Yep.
Around the time of the first stimulus package.
Mm-hmm.
And it may have changed since then, you know, as far as, you know, his creative process. Like I said, this is well over a decade ago. You know, but he said, like, right now it's the Wild West as far as sampling is concerned. Now, you know, She Makes Me Feel All Right. That was clearly Rick James.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's definitely listed in the notes. But I know some of those, I would never be able to find out what some of that stuff is. But if you start, you know, setting up who, you know, who sampled, and then you put millions of dollars behind that, they're going to go through and find those albums that don't have all the samples listed. There's probably people who are getting paid just to go through and find out what samples are.
Which was the point of this.
Yeah. And so that's what I think is nasty work, because do I want some of those people to get paid? Yes, I do. But this isn't the way to do it, because they're not going to see, once you finish the lawyers and Spotify takes their cut. Yeah. Okay. And the lawyer takes his cut for doing this. Like, not only have you messed up a large swath of art, perhaps things get taken down or you won't be able to listen to them anymore. But then the person who was sampled, yeah, they're going to be like, yeah, we did this on your behalf. Here's a check for $13.
Yeah. And to go beyond that, I think the problem that I have with it is, I do believe that artists should get paid for being sampled.
Mhm.
I believe that 100%. But what I also understand are multiple things. Number one, the retroactive thing that happens with this, it's really just tech companies in the pockets manipulating stuff to make money off the back of artists. Number one. I feel like this problem is multifold. I see how this is a benefit to the consumer that is just interested in the music, interested in hip hop, interested in all these things. But the problem is who it puts in the crosshairs. And the additional problem to this is that we don't have infrastructure in place to deal with copyrights in music from like a fair use type of perspective.
Mm.
You know, in the same sense to where, like, we can throw Open Mike Eagle up on our screen, we can reference him, we can talk about him, and we can talk about what the thing is. You know, we are changing the content. You know, that's, if we took this to court, we can say, well, we're talking about this specifically. This is fair use. You know, like, we are transforming.
He's also credited in this.
But we are transforming the content, which is what fair use is. We are transforming the original content. You can make the argument that sampling is the same thing, depending on how you sample it and how you manipulate it. But we don't have the infrastructure or the case studies to reference that in a court of law. And we're so far behind. And the people that lose on this versus the people that win on this are entirety of hip hop music artists, producers, people that don't really make a lot of money for the most part. We're not talking about people sampling Michael Jackson or people that are sampling like really big records that blow up, right? Yes, clear your sample. You should know better, right? We're talking about the independent, the people that are barely making money as it is, the people that have built an entire do-it-yourself catalog like Open Mike Eagle, like, you know, people that aren't over that threshold that can't spend the amount of resources and hours that it takes to clear a sample. Like, I don't know if you know how hard it is to clear a sample, but it is not easy to clear a sample. You have to clear it not only from the person that makes it, but the person that owns all the publishing, but also the person that owns the master recording that you're sampling. So there could be 7 people that were a part of this band. You have to clear it from every single one of those estates, but also have to get clearance from the record label that owns it as well. This is a long, expensive process that is not easy to do, and it just needs overhauled. And I feel like if the whole system was overhauled, which is what TrackLib was trying to do a little bit with making it a little bit easier, you know, I feel like artists would be more willing to not lie in the shadows when they were sampling, you know, and people would clear things more often. But because it's such a ridiculous amount of money and all the things related to it, and it's intellectual property, and you have to verify, in which I understand, it's just a very interesting conversation back and forth, which I just happen, as somebody who samples, obviously I'm doing a very particular project right now that I'm not going to be able to clear. I've already looked into it, but it's too ridiculous to even try to clear. It's just, there's no way around it. If I want to do some really cool creative stuff and put it out, even if I send it to the artist and they're like, yeah, that's cool.
He can't. He doesn't have the ability.
He doesn't have the ability to necessarily say yes for everybody that's a part of it, and the major record label that's a part of it as well. So then it just sits at the bottom of the you know, the valley.
So what? I'm speaking solely as a consumer of the art. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
What I'm saying is the art won't exist because people will stop doing it.
Yes and no. You know
I would not make an Elton John project if I can't put it out.
But,
come on, man, you sample
but I'm saying,
I'm just saying it's pretty obvious.
But you can put it out. That's what I'm saying. Put it out. It's just not
Kiss
legal.
Can't sell it.
Yeah,
you
that's what I'm
can't make
saying.
no money off of it.
That's not how copyright works.
Yeah,
You can still get sued whether you sell it or not.
yeah. That's what happened. Nicki Minaj had that happen to her. I think it was Tracy Chapman sued her and won over a song that never came out.
Mac Miller got sued by
Lord Finesse.
Well, Lord Finesse over a mixtape beat.
I get all of that.
Sure.
That's real too.
But so what? And the only reason I say that is because
That's bold.
yeah, it is, because if I'm getting sued by that, that means my name has reached a certain level to where it was important enough for them to want to come after it.
I guess, and what I'm saying here is that the territory that we're jumping into, that's historically how it's always been.
Mhm.
Yes.
And yes, I agree with you historically. The problem is that it's becoming inherently easier to spot. It's
Mhm.
being spotted by technology such as AI that is automatically claiming it and automatically sending something to somebody's email.
SoundCloud does that.
Like Open Mike Eagle was saying, is like, oh, who do I want to sue today?
Mhm.
He's just trying to get a check. It's one thing if an artist comes at me directly like, hey, like you should have cleared this.
You right.
Valid.
You right.
Valid.
My bad.
But if like somebody comes at me and just like, no, I'm just trying to make a check off or make a profit off, that's the part that I have a problem with, it because it's like it's foul.
So not the
It's foul.
artist, but the lawyers
Sure.
just coming to get it.
If it again, the whole music legal system, it's just it's trash.
I'll say this, like, and I'm speaking solely for who sampled.
Sure.
You know what I mean? As a fan of music, there are certain songs that I've heard where I wanted to know what that sample was.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I found out what it
And what does
was.
Pete Rock say? I can't tell you.
Yeah.
What's Primo gonna say? I can't tell you.
Maybe
But
like stop
see,
snitching.
that's part of the cult. That's part of the culture of sampling too. Now, if you go and dig and you figure out what it is,
Mhm.
that's cool, you know, and that's always been part of it too. Like, yeah, okay, if you figure it out, then you can tell people about it. You know what I mean? But to go on a public forum in that particular type of manner and to spread it to a whole bunch of people beyond the culture of what it is, like this
Okay.
isn't like your homies. This
Yeah.
is like, I'm going to tell all these people over here, and anybody can just look at it and be like, oh, okay, I got an idea.
Which
Mhm.
lawyer is going to jump on this first?
Yeah, you know,
That's-
like
that's
and
crazy
this is,
work,
to me, this
bro.
is going to accelerate that.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and there's not and the infrastructure isn't moving fast enough, in my opinion,
Mhm.
to protect from this in this particular type of way. That's all that I'm saying. But I agree with what you're saying in
Yeah.
general. But
It's a good problem
know.
to have, but in the same token, it's like it's not a good problem to have because you're never going to make nothing out of it. Like we just had a conversation about De La Soul. They lost a lot of income and a lot of publicity
Yeah.
and a lot from the career that's still moving
a lot of time.
based off of one sample that wasn't cleared off their album.
The
It
Turtles.
held up all of that, pretty much all of their progression was held up from that. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Spotify does not care about any of the people that they employ, or they really don't employ you because you're getting fractions of a penny of a dollar.
It's not employment.
Of
No, but
a penny.
they're actual employees.
Yeah, they're actual employees, but they don't care about anybody in the music business.
They're a tech company.
Mhm.
They're a marketing agency essentially. That's the way that I tell young music producers and young artists. I was like, look at Spotify. If you're going to use Spotify, monthly plays, all that stuff, don't worry about making money off of it. Use it as a marketing tool. You're going to make money on this other app like Bandcamp or something where you can directly contact people that want to buy your stuff.
That was my point.
But B,
Yeah. And look, all of us still utilize these platforms.
Mhm.
You know, like I don't use Spotify. I don't
Yeah,
use
I don't
it.
either.
So like I literally practicing when I'm preaching. Like I don't use it.
I don't either.
You know, and if you use it, I get it because convenience is king. I understand that, but like I hope that more people, I've even thought about taking our podcast off Spotify, but I know, shit, they're making money off us. I'm sure they're running ads on our shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, Mike, what were you gonna say?
no, you good. I was just talking about what B was talking about in terms of we used to say that to each other. Well, when we get there, we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
me and Lone used to say that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When we get there, we'll deal with it. But there's an underground layer. There's a layer of artists that have made a name off of this, per se, when it talks about the chopping samples and stuff, which has led them to get shows, to get booked, to sell merch, to be on Bandcamp. And
Let's be clear, they're paying for samples as well.
Not everybody.
Not
everybody's not
everybody,
paying.
but-
Everybody's not paying.
People that sample music, they're paying for a good amount of samples. Some of them slip through the cracks, obviously.
I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not even talking about the mainstream or the second stream, whatever. I'm
Mhm.
talking about like fourth, fifth, like down there.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people that I know that I'm a huge fan of that have been immaculate at
All right.
chopping samples and putting records out. This affects them too.
So, like, for instance, I'm only saying this because I'm a fan. Like, so Apollo Brown,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Apollo Brown, he puts out a project.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be littered with samples.
Sure. Yep.
But there's already, like, you already gonna find that information on who sampled already. Like, he probably didn't put it on there, but somebody's gonna have that
You talking
information
about
on there.
his stuff?
his
Yeah.
actual
Yeah.
samples.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Perhaps.
think the people that I'm like directly referencing like these art is like Alchemist,
Okay.
Derringer,
Got a whole section.
Madlib,
Yeah.
the Nazis, like people
Mhm.
that are like in that type of realm, people that produce for like Little Brother, people that produce for acts of that range.
Yeah.
These type of artists may or may not be clearing samples,
Mm-hmm.
depending on how big that release
There
is.
you go.
And, there's an underbelly. I think another, I could talk about this forever.
Yeah, we can talk about this all
I was about to
night.
say, I love every producer you just mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't even want to mention them
But-
because it's like,
Yeah.
like
It
the
was
fans might
snitching.
be watching.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? There's so many people that I know that are incredible producers
And I
that
don't know
are
if
in
they-
that lane.
And they may clear their samples. I don't know, but
More than likely.
Yeah, 100%.
just depending on what it is,
Yeah, but there's people out here getting booked for tours and shows and beat sets and all that type of stuff based off doing it. So this is powerful, bro. Like you can really, if it grows, stop a lot of people from eating.
And I think the thing that I have the biggest problem with this about too is the fact that like it kind of undermines the arts in general, because like we can say for so long, us as music producers and people that are in hip hop or make music or make creative arts, even us on this podcast, right? We create this value that we put out into the world, and so many people will look at that and say, well, it's just art.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a song. It's not a real tangible thing, right?
Mhm.
People just devalue the art so much that they'll say, well, if you get sued, it's okay, which is something that we subscribe to.
Mhm.
Yep.
But we have to get rid of that mindset of like, no, like this is work.
Mhm.
What we're doing is work. We're putting value out there that we know that we're not getting paid for, that we should be getting paid for,
Mhm.
that shouldn't be diminished in that particular type of way. And that is something that kind of like eats at me a little bit as well. It's just kind of like art isn't valued. Consumption is valued. We value the consumer. We value things from a consumer standpoint across the board. Everything. I'm guilty of it. Everybody here at this table is guilty because it's the ease of access. And It's hard to break those habits because it's so easy.
And then all you're going to be asked to do is to do it again.